Okay, a very good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the SGUnited Skills Program preview. Okay, so in the first part of this webinar today, I'm going to give you a brief overview to the SGUnited Skills Program, and then I'm going to share with you the program eligibility criteria, some of the program terms and conditions, and as well as the criteria for the training allowance. Okay, and after that, my colleagues are here with me today, Mr. Puzi, Gary, and Chu Chien, and they'll be walking you through the respective programs that they are managing. Okay, so Puzi is going to talk about the Associate UI UX Designer program and the Oracle Java Programmer program, and followed by that, Gary will talk about the Cloud Administrator program, and the last speaker, Chu Chien, will talk about the Associate Project Manager Scrum Master program. Yeah, so they'll be going through, like what the program covers, and I'm sorry, yeah, so what the program covers, and also the program prerequisites, etc. And after that, I will be going through some of the frequently asked questions by SGUnited trainees. And on top of that, if you have any more questions, we can address those during the Q&A session. Okay, so without further ado, let me start the introduction to SGUS. Okay, so what is SGUnited Skills Program? Okay, so basically, this is a long format program designed to transform Singaporeans and PRs to be competent in future-ready job roles. Okay, so when I say long format program, it's actually referring to a 6 months long program. Okay, and we do this by teaching you the industry relevant skills and help you achieve deep proficiency of the skills. So let me share with you our program structure. So I said the SGUnited program is a 6 months long program, right? So this 6 months includes structured training, okay? And when I say structured training, it includes, okay, it may be instructor-led virtual training, or it can be instructor-led face-to-face training, or it may also include self-paced e-learning, okay? Or the participants will also be working on capstone projects under the guidance of mentors and industry practitioners. So depending on the program that you choose, right, the mode of training will vary accordingly. So some programs are 100% virtual. Virtual means that training will be delivered through Zoom, like what we are going through right now. Whereas a few programs will be a combination of virtual training and instructor-led training. So it depends on the program. So every program, it comes with a capstone project. So what happens in the capstone project is whatever skills that you learn in theory, right? Okay, so let's say in month 1, you go for module number 2, module number 1, module number 2, module number 3, and so on. And by going through a number of modules, you are going to gain a lot of new skill sets. Okay, so let's say you gain skill 1, skill 2, skill 3. And by working on a capstone, right, you're actually applying all the skills that you learned in theory. You're going to put into practice by working on a capstone project. So each program comes with a capstone project. In fact, a number of capstone projects. And all our courses are modularized and they are industry relevant. Okay. So as I mentioned, SGUS is a long format program, which is full-time program with a duration of 6 months. The eligibility criteria. So this program is only open to Singapore citizens and PR job seekers who are aged 21 years and above. And at the point of entry, right, the participant must be unemployed. Training allowance. And participants who are accepted into this program are eligible for a monthly training allowance of $1,200, okay, throughout the duration of the program. Okay, so as it is a 6 months program, participants can expect to receive up to 6 months of training allowance. So it's $1,200 per month for up to 6 months. Okay, talking about the eligibility criteria, right? I said in the earlier slide that this program is open only for Singapore citizens and PRs who are looking for a job, who are unemployed currently. Yeah, but please take note, if you are a graduate, okay, let's say you graduated, or if you're graduating in calendar year 2019, 2020, or 2021 from ITEs, polytechnics, universities, and other education institutes. Okay, this includes overseas universities and private universities as well. Okay, so this group of candidates are not eligible to participate in SGUS. Likewise, if you graduated from the education institutions that I mentioned in the point A, and you have completed or completing national service in 2019, 2020, and 2021, and entering the labor force, are also not eligible to participate in SGUnited skills program. Okay. The next point to take note, participant should not have attended, okay, regardless of whether it's in full or partial. Participants should not have attended any other SGUS or SGUP program, regardless of whether it's with Learning Hub or with other providers. Okay, so you should not have attended any other SGUS or SGUP program before, regardless of whether it's full or partial. So that's point number 2 to take note of. And the third point, the trainee must be physically present in Singapore. Okay, so these are the eligibility criteria as well for the program. So if you have any questions, right, feel free to post in the chat. So during the Q&A session, we will go through the Q&A together and we will answer the questions as much as possible. Okay, the next topic, a monthly training allowance. So in the earlier slide, I mentioned participants are eligible for a monthly training allowance of $1,200, right? But please take note, trainees who are concurrently receiving income relief scheme under COVID-19 recovery grant will either receive $700 per month or $500 per month as part of their training allowance under SGUS. Okay, so depends. So for example, let's say you're receiving $500 per month under the COVID-19 recovery grant. In that case, you will be eligible for only $700 per month under the SGUnited skills program. So if you add up these two numbers, right, it's still $1,200. Okay, so that's the maximum you can get if when you are getting the COVID-19 recovery grant. Okay, but you will have a question. Hey, the COVID-19 recovery grant is not forever, it's only for a few months. So after I stop receiving COVID-19 recovery grant, will I be eligible for the full $1,200? The answer is yes. Okay, so once the trainee no longer receives the COVID-19 recovery grant, then the trainee will be eligible for the full monthly training allowance of $1,200. So this is a point to take note as well. Okay, and before even we propose these SGUnited programs, which we are going to talk about very soon. We actually did a research. Okay, in 2020, we actually did a survey with our corporate customers. Okay, who are the employers, right? We asked them, hey, what are the top skills? Okay, you're looking for, and from that research survey that we did, right, we identified that these are the top 10 digital skills coveted by employers in Singapore. And namely digital marketing, project management, data analytics, IT support, so you see like web app development, cybersecurity, and so on. So based on this skills demand, right, that is how we proposed the SGUnited skills program to Skills Future Singapore. So today, if you go to our website, you will see like 15 different SGUnited skills programs, okay, 15 different programs, but they are actually classified under these 10 categories, 10 areas, okay. But those actually we say like tech light, tech heavy, and healthcare, right? So these are the three broad categories of programs that we have. So you may wonder, hey, what is tech light? What is tech heavy? Yeah. So tech heavy means the participant should have a background in science, technology, engineering, or mathematics. Okay. So if you want to apply for a program in these areas, okay, say cloud computing, software development, or industrial automation, then you will need to have a background in science, tech, engineering, or math. Yeah. Whereas if you are looking at ICT related roles, and if you do not have a background in STEM, then you can apply for these tech light tracks, okay, like digital marketing, project management, creative design, governance, risk and compliance, human resource, and agri-tech. So these roles doesn't require you to have a tech background or a science, tech, engineering, or math background. The third track that we have is the healthcare track. So here we have a couple of programs in the area of health and community care. So while we have 15 different programs, right, today we are not going to cover all of them. We are only going to look at these 4 tracks. Okay, the project management, creative design, cloud computing, and software development. And here is the listing of the 15 tracks that I mentioned. Yeah, so if you want to know more about these programs, you can visit our website. But again, today we are only going to talk about these 4 roles that I have highlighted in red. So all these programs are 6 months long. Okay, coming to the SGUnited funding components, right? So there are actually 2 funding components to this program. So the first component is called course fee subsidy, and the second one is training allowance. Okay, the course fee subsidy. So all the programs, in fact, you see in my earlier slide, I shared about the 15 different programs, right? So all of these programs are approximately around $18,000. Okay, so that's before the government subsidy. But after subsidy, the net fee payable by trainees is $500. This is including GST. So if you are a Singapore citizen, you can use your Skills Future credit to offset, this $500. Let's say you are a permanent resident, then maybe you can tap on the NTUC UTAP grant, UTAP funds up to $250. Okay. So coming to the eligibility criteria for course fee funding, course fee subsidy, the participants must achieve at least 75% attendance for each course and each capstone project in the program. Okay, and also it is important for participants to sit and pass all prescribed assessments and capstone projects. Okay, so as I mentioned, these are 6 months long programs. So every month you may be going for a few courses. For each course, you must meet 75% attendance minimally. Okay, and you should pass the assessment as well. So whenever I talk about this topic called assessment, right, always people ask this question: assessment, what if I fail? Okay, is there any penalty? Okay, so don't worry about that. It's a commonly asked question. So what happens when you fail your assessment? Okay, so we will actually arrange for like a reassessment, or we'll do like an oral recovery. Okay, so at this moment, don't worry a lot about the assessment. Okay, but this is a program criteria for you to be eligible for the course fee subsidy. The second part is the training allowance. Okay, so I mentioned before, every month participants can expect to receive $1,200 for up to 6 months. But to be eligible for the monthly training allowance, participants must achieve minimum 75% attendance per month, per calendar month I'm referring to. So the difference between here and here, right? So here, coming to the course fee subsidy, the 75% attendance is for every single capstone project or the course in that month. Whereas when it comes to training allowance, actually we are looking at the whole calendar month. Okay, let's say we schedule classes for 10 days in that month, right? Then you have to attend at least 7.5 days. Okay, that's 75% attendance for that month. Okay, and that's the eligibility criteria for you to receive the training allowance. And as part of this program, right, we will also provide you with a lot of value-added services, which will help you to stand out from the crowd when you complete this program. So let me quickly share what are our value-added services. The first one is the professional photo. So we will provide you with a professional headshot and a full-length photo, which you can use it on your resume or on your LinkedIn profile. And then we will also arrange for workshops, to help you rewrite, review, and polish your CV, cover letter, your LinkedIn profile. Okay, and because this program comprises of a lot of capstone projects, there is going to be a lot of knowledge transfer between the mentors and the participants. Yeah, so that's the next one. And then for those participants who need more support, right, on career coaching, we can always bring in our partner E2I. So there is a career coaching support as well. And many of the programs are ICT related. And in ICT, right, many employers prefers candidate to have globally recognized certifications. So in fact, many of the programs that we run today, right, it will prepare you to sit for a number of IT certifications which are globally recognized and which are highly sought after by the employers. So again, my team will briefly share like what kind of certifications our program will prepare you for later. We will also arrange for virtual career fairs. Okay, and we do have our own recruitment platform. So this is like a matchmaking platform to matchmake our trainees with the employers that we work with. And the last but not least, we do have our own industry outreach and engagement specialists. So these dedicated resources, right, their role is to basically go to the industry, network with the employers, encourage them to participate in our career fairs, to look for candidates through our recruitment platform. Okay, so there is a dedicated placement team looking into this, the job placement of our trainees. So by providing you with all these value-added services, we will help you to maximize the chances of getting a job. But please take note, this program does not guarantee any job. Okay, but we will maximize your chances of getting a job with all these value-added services that I'm sharing in the screen. So that is the end of the introduction to SGUS. So now I would like to hand over to the next speaker, Mr. Puzi, to talk about the UI UX program and the Java programmer track as well. Hi, Puzi. You're mute.
Hello, hi everyone. Thank you, Senthil. Today I will walk through with you two SGUS programs that is part of me. Number one is the SGUS Oracle Java Programmer, and the other one will be the UI UX. So let me to put this on. Let me put this on the presenter screen. Okay. Can you see the full screen now?
Not yet, Puzi. I think, yeah, now can see.
So first I'll run through with you the SGUS Oracle Java Programmer. So maybe a lot of you have questioned why we offer Java Programmer instead of other programming language. So maybe I can run through with you what are the advantages of taking the Oracle Java Programmer course in terms of helping you to become a Java developer or software developer. Okay, so Java has been rated the top 3 most popular programming language for, I think, the longest time. I think for more than 10 years already. It's always by the top 3 or top 5 place in terms of the most popular programming language in the world. So besides that, just put my pointer. Okay. Besides that, Java has remained also as the #1 choice for developer. Okay, and more than 97% of enterprise actually run on Java enterprise solution. So a lot of Fortune 500 companies actually, you can see later on, run their platform on Java. Okay, and Java is also one of the most popular. They have more than 9 million developers worldwide. And in terms of the application, it's also very versatile. Besides on the website and also on the desktop, it can also be used for mobile phone. So currently there's more than 3 billion mobile phones running on Java at the moment. And besides that, it also runs a lot of applications on TV, about 125. Okay? So some of the companies that are currently using Java will be the big boys like Uber, Airbnb, Google, Pinterest, Netflix. So most of them actually relies on Java because it is very stable and it's widely used among all of its peers and even competitors. Okay. In terms of the average salary scale for Java developer, this one we pick it up from I think Glassdoor. So the average base salary for per year is about 50,000, which is about $4,000 to $5,000 a month. This is more for like an entry-level Java developer programmer. So you can see that they are paid quite handsomely. Okay, next, you're probably wondering, what does a Java developer do? So basically, you can guess it right. They're doing mostly on programming and coding, okay? And mostly in this important language called Java, okay? Java currently is now owned by Oracle. They've been bought over previously. So Java has been one of the most widely run so-called enterprise solution for most of the companies. So people who are working as Java developer, their main primary responsibility will be designing, implementing Java applications, and then doing testing for software, and also resolving any technical issues that arrive when they are doing their Java application. Okay. So most Java developers are divided into 2 parts. Okay, one is what we call the front-end web developer, and the other one, which is the back-end developer. So for the front end, basically, they are more at the user level. So they basically look at things of how things look from the user perspective. Okay, so they do mostly on images, content, structure, and they use programming language like HTML5, CSS, and JavaScript. And for the back-end developer, they are more concerned with how things work. Okay, So some of the programming language they use will be like Ruby, PHP, but for our case, Java will be one of the most dominant language used on the backend developer side. Okay, so for this program, you will cover basically these three modules, JavaScript, CSS, and HTML5. And then for your backend, you cover something on Spring Boot, and also the core Java programming. Okay, and you'll also be doing a database fundamental program because database is one of the important skill set that you need to master in order to become a Java developer. Okay, so in terms of modules, these are some of the modules. In fact, these are all the modules that you'll be going throughout your 6-month program. So as you can see, we develop it in such a way that after you undergone one skill set of training, for example, like programming and web development, so you will go through a capstone project to actually use what you have learned in your first modules. Okay, and likewise for capstone 2, you will actually use what you learn under Java programming 1 and database, and you'll come up with some project work that can help you to do what we call experiential learning, where you actually do hands-on learning in a real lab environment as if you are a web developer or a front-end or back-end developer. Okay, so likewise for all the subjects, they emphasize a lot of hands-on programming learning session during your capstone project. Okay, so in terms of certification, at the end of the program, you can, if you want, you can decide to do what you call the Oracle Certified Professional OCT examination. So if you pass these exams, so this will be your official IT certification that will be your passport to apply for a job as a software developer. All right. Next, I go on to the next program, which is the Associate UI UX Designer. For those who are not familiar, UI UX stands for User Interface and User Experience. So why UI UX becoming more and more popular now is because of the exponential growth of e-commerce in the world. Okay? So you can see that the e-commerce has actually hit almost $3.2 trillion. Okay, and most of the growth will be in Southeast Asia. Okay, Singapore has also grown to 6 billion, and you see that there's a lot of so-called e-commerce platform like Shopee, Lazada, Amazon, which is now very popular in Singapore, especially during COVID-19. Okay, and as you can see over here, according to this stat, Asia Pacific will experience the most number of growth. Okay, so the action is in Southeast Asia. That's why we need more UI UX designer in Singapore and also the region. And in Singapore alone, our online sales grown to $6 billion just in 2020 alone. Okay, so on average, it has been growing about 20 to 30% for the past 2 years. In terms of average salary scale, it's quite close to Java, close to 50,000 a year. So the reason is because UI UX is an important skill set for people who are running e-commerce website, or even those who are running digital marketing business. So this has become an important skill set that need to be acquired for people who want to move to this track. Okay. Next, what does a UI UX designer do? Okay, so basically, their main core will be they will be creating what we call digital assets. So digital asset can come in the form of a video or a poster or an EDM or an FD or IG advertisement. Okay, so they will use software like Photoshop, Illustrator, and then for videos they use After Effects and Premiere Pro. So with this skill set, they'll be able to create what they call digital assets that can be used to actually persuade customer to buy their product. Okay, and then they also learn another software called Adobe XD, which is wireframing software, and this is useful when they are doing the prototyping for a new mobile app or for an e-commerce platform. Okay, so this work well both on even on small screen also. Okay, and they also work with the front end developer in the company, and lastly, they do mostly user research usability testing, and they try to build persuasive digital content to help convert prospect into customer. Okay, I will go through a bit more on what do they do later on in the next slide. Okay, so this is just some code on how UI UX designer is actually spreading across the workforce, and it's all been driven by the growth in the financial sector. You know, now everybody is making payment using PayNow or PayLah. So a lot of this digital offering needs a lot of UI UX designer to design the interface and to also create a nice user experience for people who use these mobile apps or application or even the website services. Okay, so typically user experience designer works in this so-called flow. So at the front end, they conduct a lot of research. They do customer persona. They identify what are the different customer persona that is in the market. Customer persona refer to the customer profile. Okay, what age group they are, what in terms of their career, in terms of their whether they are millennials, Gen Z. Okay, so all these they use it to do a research on customer persona. So from the customer persona, then they can create the right profile to then push the right product to these people. Okay, then they use their skill set in Illustrator and Photoshop to design digital assets. Okay, so the digital assets can be used in mobile application, in websites. Okay, and then they work very closely with what you call the front-end web developer. So for this course, our student will also be learning how to use WordPress, which is actually a low-code environment in terms of how to develop a website. So that also will be another useful experience, especially for those people who wants to go and work for small SMEs that probably want a simpler and cheaper option when they are creating their web application. Okay, so these are the modules that they will be going through throughout the program. Okay. The first one will be they were going through the what you call the CUA Certified Usability Analyst. So this is part of the UX course certification course. This is a 10 days course, after which at the end of the program, they can decide to take the certification for this program under HFI. For CUA, we work closely with our training partner called Human Factor International. So they are one of the biggest consulting firm and also training companies in the UX field. Okay, they're based in US. So as you can see, they will also be learning software like Adobe XD, WordPress, Illustrator, and Photoshop. So all this will be infused during their capstone project. Okay, so you can see that capstone project will become an important element in their learning journey, because they at the end of the day they'll be designing a portfolio. So this portfolio can be used when they are applying for jobs. So because for UI UX designer, they're not so much based on paper qualification, they're based more on skill set. And they want to see what are your portfolios that you can show and tell to your potential employer, so that they know whether you have what it takes to do the job as a UX designer or practitioner. Okay, so these are the two certifications that I mentioned that you can take. The CUA certification, and the other one is the Certified Digital Persuasion Analyst. So for CDPE, basically students will learn more on the persuasion technique. HFI have their so-called own persuasion technique. They call it PET, which stands for Persuasion, Emotion, and Trust. So this is their own technique of how they want to use a psychological and emotional so-called elements and infuse it into the digital assets, whether it's website or mobile application. Okay. Lastly, let me go through what is the entry requirement for these two programs. So for UI UX, this is more a skill-based program. So the minimum entrance actually is quite flexible. You can take anyone from N, O, A-level, NITEC, higher NITEC diploma, and even degree and above. And but for the Oracle Java programmer, you need minimum a diploma, preferably in either science, IT, or engineering or mathematics. Okay. So these are the two skill sets. So this is what previously Center was saying about. One is this is what they call a tech light, and this is what you call the tech heavy. So the prerequisite are a bit different. Okay, I think I come to an end of my presentation. Maybe I can hand over to Gary.
Okay, thank you, Puzi. So give me a minute. Let me share screen. Can you see the screen?
Yes,
okay.
I can see your screen.
Okay, hi everyone. This is Gary. I'm the product manager for the IT infrastructure. I'll be sharing more on the SGUS cloud administrator, AWS, Azure, and VMware. So these are the three main vendors that we are working with on this course. So let's proceed. Okay, as you all know, last time we used to have quite a lot of all the companies bought themselves a lot of servers to do different projects, to do many things. That means each of the project you might need to buy one server, or you need to buy another component and things like that. It's going to be very expensive. But with cloud, right, a lot of companies have been moving to cloud is because they have these are the advantages of the cloud computing. You can see that it actually costs less to the company, to the company that is actually doing the cloud computing. And also you need to buy less server. You just need to subscribe and buy as you need, pay as you use, the kind of model. So it's more and more companies are moving to cloud. That's why the demand for the job roles are getting more and more. There's a lack of these cloud administrators in the market. So this is actually quite a good job role that you all can look at. And let me share with you more on the course itself. So for the cloud administrators, right, what do the cloud administrators do? They normally will coordinate with the IT department to develop and support cloud applications, like Windows, from the Windows and Unix infrastructures. They provide technical supports for Windows and cloud-based systems and troubleshoot operational issues. The professionals also assist the administration of cloud services and a Windows server environment. So this role, right, it actually has many names. Yes, it is also known as cloud system administrator, system administrator, and so forth. Depending on individuals' work experience and the roles that they are assigned by the companies, they are called different ways. So if you look at the job market, right, there's a lot of sysadmin job, cloud system admin job, but they are all referring to the same thing. So their salary, average salary is about 3,000 to 5,000 per month. So depending on the kind of role that you're being assigned. Okay. So this is the responsibility and overview, a quick overview of what a cloud administrator do. A lot of administration, a lot of support. They are tied into different projects depending on what the company want to do and what they are interested in moving forward to. Yeah. For things like creating policy for cloud computing systems, monitoring network performance and network resources. So there's many things that was being covered in this course. So the program prerequisite similar to what Puzi have shared. The participant must be a Singapore citizen, 21 years and above, who are currently unemployed, but they are looking for career conversion. They must have minimum 2 years of working experience. They must be committed to complete the program. For this technical competency, the person must have a minimum diploma in science, technology, engineering, or mathematics. And also the prior experience in desktop or networks or system administration will be an advantage because it's easier for you all to pick up the new technology. Yeah. So this is the roughly all the costs that was, this is the list of courses that was being covered in this SGUS program. So we will teach you basic networking in Computer Network Plus. Then we will cover the Windows Server fundamental, This one is on the 2019 version. And also the Windows Server administrations. And we also be covering AWS, Cloud Practitioner Essentials. This course is give you an overview of the AWS platform. What does it have? What service does it have? How does it operate? And how much do you pay for each of the services? Because you need to know this so that you can advise your project manager or IT manager. Also, we will be introducing you to the virtualization with the VMware course. So there's actually two courses that is VMware. One is the SDDC and the other one is the VMware Cloud on the AWS. And as you can see, the course is always followed by a capstone project to recap, and also so that you can actually have more time to practice and work on a project, a group project or individual project to craft up some outcome. Yeah. So the schedule will start on the first class. This cohort, right? There's only one cohort. There's only 22 seats for this SGUS cohort. The class will start on 7th of Feb, just immediately after Chinese New Year, and end on July, 13th of July. So as shared earlier, the program fee is $18,000. You only need to pay $500, and you can use your SGUS or your UTAP to offset it if you're an NTUC member. So if you look at these four logos here, they are actually the professional certification that you can take on your own once you have completed the program, because we have already prepared you to take all these certification that is industry recognized. Yeah, that's all. Can I hand over to Chen?
Let me just share my screen. Okay, are you seeing the slideshow?
Yep.
Great.
Yes. Yep.
Okay, so I'm going to start presenting on the Associate Project Manager and Scrum Master program. So I'm the product manager for the project management and job courses at LHUB. So as we mentioned, we studied the in-demand skills and jobs and the employees in the market. So 43% of employers have answered that project management skills is a top skill that they are coveting. And so we have created this program. So why project management? So across the globe, there is a widening gap between the employer's need for skilled project managers and the availability of these professionals to fill these roles. And according to the most recent 2021 Project Management Job Growth and Talent Gap Report conducted by the Project Management Institute, the global economy actually needs about 25 million new project professionals by 2030. And in fact, to close this talent gap, 2.3 million people will need to enter the industry every year to keep up with this demand. And as we are looking at the industry, the practice of project management has also expanded beyond traditional industries such as oil and gas to other industries such as healthcare and professional services. And with all these factors, there is a very positive job outlooks for project professionals in a wide variety of industries across the world. So look at some data from Indeed. The average base salary is about $6,208 per month. And then, of course, also differs based on your expertise. So a junior project manager can expect an average salary of about $5,000. And then a senior project manager can expect an average salary of about $9,000. So what does a project manager Scrum Master do? So this is an overview. Project manager and Scrum Master, of course, does a lot more than this. They take on a lot of hats. But in general, they plan and develop project ideas. They create and lead project teams. They monitor project progress and set deadlines. They problem solve. They manage risk. They manage resources such as money, manpower, materials. And throughout, they have to ensure stakeholder satisfaction and evaluate project performance. So this Associate Project Manager Scrum Master program is supposed to equip participants with the mix of these competencies. So there is the technical and leadership skills required, as well as the softer skills such as strategic and business management skills. So after this program, you should be able to assume the job role of an associate project manager Scrum Master. So we are working with some content partners for this program. We have Project Management Institute, Scrum Alliance, IC Agile, Sybint, DevOps Institute, Wiley, Kotter, PeopleCert, and Excelos to create these modules. All right, so there's a couple of modules broken down. So we have Project Management for All, Certified Scrum Master, Agile Team Facilitation, a Data Appreciation course, Design Thinking, ITIL 4 Foundation, followed by Capstone Project 1. And then we have Prince 2 Foundation in Project Management, Continuous Improvement Thinking, People and Performance Management, a Cybersecurity Awareness Program, as well as the Project Management Professional course, followed by Capstone Project 2. And then a Participate in Negotiations powered by Wiley course, a DevOps Leader, Entry Certificate in Business Analysis, ECBA, a Toastmasters course, a Lead Workplace Communication and Engagement course, Introduction to the Software Development Lifecycle and Software Testing, as well as Capstone Project 3. So the capstone projects are inserted throughout the modules so that after you learn the theory of the modules, we can apply them in the capstone project. So in the capstone project, we have a variety of case studies where you will work together either individually or in teams to produce your presentation, and that's how you'll be assessed. Yeah. So if you look at the duration, it's broken down as well. So with all these modules, the skills that we are going to cover in this program are this wide variety, right? So you'll learn how to manage projects, manage risks, facilitate agile teams, people and performance management, how to conduct business needs analysis, negotiate, how to conduct design thinking, change management, how to improve and optimize processes, how to communicate and collaborate effectively with other people in your teams, how to lead teams, how to problem solve, how to analyze and visualize data, as well as cybersecurity awareness. So along with these skills, our program, in collaboration with our content partners, will also prepare you for these globally recognized certifications. So we have the Prince 2 Foundation in Project Management. We have the Certified Scrum Master by Scrum Alliance, Project Management Professional by Project Management Institute, DevOps Leader by DevOps Institute, the Agile Team Facilitation by IC Agile, and ITIL 4 Foundation by Excelos and PeopleCert, as well as the Entry Certificate Business Analysis. So as this is a relatively tech-like program, our functional and technical competencies we are looking at would be a minimum diploma in any discipline. You have to be well-versed in all Microsoft Office applications, especially Excel, Word, and PowerPoint, because we'll be using that quite heavily. And of course, you should be able to speak, listen, read, and write English at a proficiency level 6, as well as manipulate numbers at a proficiency level equivalent to the WSQ Workplace Numeracy level 6. But on top of these technical competencies, we're also looking at certain behavioral skills. So this is a course that involves a lot of teamwork. We are also looking for strong communication skills and problem-solving skills, and ability to multitask, great ability to work in a team environment, and you should be able to maintain high integrity and display reliability. So as mentioned, this is a 6 months full-time program. So for this Associate Project Manager Scrum Master program, the total duration is about 389 hours. And the program fee, the full program fee is 17,995. But the fee after funding for Singaporeans and PRs would be $500 net. And eligible Singaporeans can offset their cost fee payable using their Skills Future credit and/or UTAP. So I've come to the end of my presentation on the Associate Project Manager Scrum Master program. So here you can see the QR code to our SGUS program landing page. We will also be sharing the link in the chat box in a bit, but I would suggest you to take a look at this QR code and learn more about our programs in detail. Right, so next we'll be moving on to cover some common FAQs as well as answer the Q&As that you guys have posted in the chat and the Q&A box.
Thanks, Yuchen. Can you see my screen?
Yes, I can see your screen.
Okay, good. Okay. So next, I'm gonna quickly run through some of the frequently asked questions for SGUnited, and then we can have another Q&A session. So you guys can please keep sending your questions in the chat, and we also have our subject matter experts and trainers with us today. So I would like to welcome Mary from NetAssist, who is our program partner for the Cloud Administrator program, and then there is Chandra, who's from Ajna Consulting, and they are our delivery partner for the Java programmer. And then we have Nikhil with us. Nikhil is our from HFI, the Human Factors International, and they are our program partners for the UI UX program. Yeah. So if you have any questions on the technical side, they are here to answer, on the content part. So feel free to ask your questions. So now I will share about the program FAQs. So the first topic is absentee. Okay. So trainees must attend all courses in the program. In the event of any leave of absence, valid reasons must be provided and approval will be granted on a case-by-case basis. So for example, if you're going on an MC, you may have to give us the MC letter. That is a valid reason. Okay. Exemption. So just now, a gentleman asked this question. Hey, I have already attended a couple of modules, that are currently part of the SGUnited program. So in that case, do I have to, can I skip those courses or do I have to go through those courses again? Okay, the answer is you must go through the courses again. Yeah, so this is a program policy set by the funding authority. Okay, so even though you might have taken some of the courses in the past, you still have to retake those courses under the scheme of SGUnited. So no exemptions will be allowed. Okay, the next topic is deferment. Okay, so in the past there were participants who asked, let's say they are in month 3 and they asked, hey, can I defer my program? So because of some reasons, I may not be able to carry on with the program for a month. So can I take a break for a month and then rejoin the program later? Okay, the answer is no. Okay, the reason is because we only have a limited number of training places under this SGUnited and a very few cohorts. So in case if you are asking for a deferment, right, it's very difficult for you to arrange for a makeup lessons, because there may not be another cohort behind your cohort. Yeah. So because of that, deferment is also not allowed. Okay, the next topic is transfer. So as per the policy set by SSG, right, a trainee must enroll in only one SGUS or SGUP. So SGUS is the program that I'm sharing with you today, the SGUnited Skills program. But there is another program called SGUP. So this is a program for mid-career professionals, which is run by the universities, the polytechnics, and then the big brands like IBM. So there is another program called SGUP in the market. So upon program commencement, right, trainee is prohibited from transferring to another SGUS or SGUC program, regardless of whether the program is offered by NTUC Learning Hub or by other training providers offering SGUS, SGUP. So earlier I already shared, if you have already taken any SGUS or SGUP be it with Learning Hub or with other providers, you are not eligible to take another SGUS program. Okay, now what I'm sharing with you is that, so once you accept our offer and join this program, midway you cannot request for a transfer to another program, okay, be it a program offered by Learning Hub or by other providers of SGUS or SGUP. Okay, this is another condition to take note of. So now I go through some of the commonly asked questions. So I have around 14-15 of them. So I will quickly go through each of them. The first question, when and how will trainees receive their monthly training allowance? So typically trainees will receive their training allowance by the 7th of every calendar month via Pay Now. But in some rare situations, I've seen participants receiving, between 8th to 14th of the calendar month. But 90% of the time, participants will receive by 7th of the month. Okay, the way it works is, so let's say your program is commencing in January, right? Your first training allowance will be dispersed in the month of February. So it's always 1 month later. Okay, because for the month of January, right, we will collate your monthly attendance data, and then we will send that to SSG, and then SSG will be the one to evaluate the attendance data and transfer the training allowance to your account directly. Okay, so the training allowance is not coming from Learning Hub, it's coming from SSG. So our role here is to submit your monthly attendance data to SSG. Yeah. So trainees will need to have a PayNow account, which is linked to their NRIC to receive their monthly training allowance. So the next question, will trainees be notified once the monthly training allowance has been dispersed? Yes, trainees can actually keep track of their training allowance payout via the My Skills Future app. Okay, so this one, either you can download on your handphone, or you go to My Skills Future website and log in with your SyncPass, and you can track your the status of your training allowance payout. The third question, are there any terms and conditions for training allowance? Okay, this one I covered before. Every month, the participants are required to achieve a minimum of 75% attendance, okay, to be eligible for the training allowance for that month. Will trainees be eligible for training allowance if they do not complete the program? Okay, so trainees will only be eligible for training allowance for the months in which they attend training and meet the minimum attendance requirement. Okay, so I give an example. So let's say you're enrolling for a 6 months SGUS program, and for whatever reason, right, you are not able to meet your attendance, the 75% attendance for your third month, say March. So for that month of March, you will not be eligible for any training allowance, but for the remaining 5 months of your program, as long as you meet the 75% attendance, you will get your training allowance. Okay, the next point, the training allowance will be discontinued once the trainee leaves the program, including early exit due to job placement. There is no proration of training allowance for trainees who leave after completing a partial month of training. So this is again a program policy. I can give an example. So again, let's say your program is starting in January, and you are exiting the program, by say April. Yeah. So because you are exiting the program in April, there will not be any payouts from the month of May onwards, because the payout for May is based on your attendance for April, right? So there will not be any payout from May onwards. So that's what the policy states. The next question, why did I receive less than $1,200 of training allowance in a particular month? Okay, so it is likely possible for some participants to receive less than $1,200. And if that happens, it could be due to two reasons. Okay, let me share what are the two reasons. The first possible reason is that the trainee is concurrently receiving income reliefs under COVID-19 recovery grant scheme. So recipients of CRG can participate in SGUnited skills program, okay, and they will continue to receive their payouts under the COVID-19 recovery grant. However, upon the course commencement, the total amount that trainee receive is still $1,200. Okay, earlier I think I explained this. So in case if you are getting $500 from your CRG, right? In that case, you will only get $700 from the SGUnited training allowance. So the total is still $1,200. Okay, likewise, if you are getting $700 from CRG, you will get $500 through the SGUnited training allowance. So the total is still $1,200. Yeah. So the moment your COVID-19 recovery grant payout cease, then you will be eligible for the full $1,200 through the SGUnited skills program. Okay, so this is the reason why some of you may be receiving less than $1,200. The second possible reason, the training program attended by the trainee commenced in the middle of the calendar month. Hence, the training allowance has been prorated. Okay, so the way the funding authority calculates the training allowance, right? It's based on the program commencement date. Okay, so let's say the program is commencing between 1st to 15th of January. Okay, in that case, the participants will receive full month. Full month means $1,200 of training allowance in the month of February. Okay, that's their first training allowance. But let's say the first cohort, the program is commencing between 16th to 31st of the calendar month. Okay, in that case, the trainees will only receive half the month of training allowance, okay, which is $600 for in the month of February. Then you may wonder, hey, how come? What happens to the remaining $500? When will I receive that? The answer is yes. So you will receive the remaining $500 in your month 7. Okay, so if you add up everything, you are still getting the 6 months of training allowance. But because the program commenced in the second half of the month, right, the first payout and the last payout, you get 600 and 600. But the overall sum is still $1,200 times 6. So these are the two possible reasons why some of you may be getting less than $1,200. Am I allowed to take part-time jobs to supplement my income? So this is a very common question. The answer is yes, you can take part-time jobs. However, the trainees are required to commit to the full-time training, because as I shared with you before, right, you have to meet the attendance requirement, pass the assessment. Okay, so as long as those criteria are met, participants are allowed to take up, like part-time jobs. There is no restriction on that. The next question. While attending SGUS program, can I attend additional courses with NTUC Learning Hub or with other training providers or IHLs? Okay. Trainees who are enrolled in SGUS program, right, are not encouraged to participate in any full-time or part-time program leading to qualification. Okay, for example, let's say you are planning to go for a part-time or a full-time degree or a master's, right? Then it's not recommended for you to participate in SGUS, yeah? Because the program, SGUS program alone may be quite intensive, okay? Even though the training duration is 8 days to 12 days on average per month, right? You may be required to do some readapps or work on some projects outside of these classroom hours, okay? So because this program is already intensive, it's not recommended for you to consider going for another full-time or a part-time program. However, if you're planning to go for a short course, let's say you want to go for a 2-day data analytics program, which has nothing to do with this SGUnited, that should be okay. Okay, so as long as your 2-day or a 3-day short course doesn't conflict with this SGUnited skills program schedule, you can take up such short courses, which is perfectly fine. Yeah. The next question. Is it possible for me to switch to another SGUS, SGUP program midway? Okay, this one I answered before. A trainee can only enroll in one SGUS program or SGUP program. And once the program commences, the trainee is prohibited from transferring to another program, be it with Learning Hub or with other training providers. Okay, the next question. This is an important question as well. Will trainees who fail the program be required to refund the course fee subsidy? Okay. So as I mentioned before, right, the course fee subsidy is coming from SkillsFuture Singapore. So similar to existing requirements for other training grants administered by SkillsFuture Singapore, trainees must fulfill the minimum attendance requirement, which is the 75%, which I mentioned before, and also pass the assessment, okay, to qualify for the course fee subsidy. Trainees who are unable to meet these requirements may be asked to return the course fee subsidies they have received. Yeah. Okay, next question. If I drop out from the program midway, will I be penalized or required to repay the training allowance and training grants? Okay, so the beauty of this SGUnited skills program, right, it's designed to allow you to exit the program without any penalty if you are successfully placed into a job related to the training that you attend, okay, regardless of whether you find a job on your own or you find a job through NTUC Learning Hub's assistance. Okay, so as long as you find a job, let's say you find a job in month 3 or month 4, you can exit the program immediately without any penalty. Okay, but for these situations, right, you have to provide us with the supporting documents. Yeah, so the trainees must provide relevant verification documentation, such as signed letter of job offer acceptance or employment contract, a verification email or a letter from your hiring employer verifying the employment status of the trainee. And a few months down the line, we also need a copy of the CPF contribution history or pay slips, and this is an added evidence. Yeah, and we have to submit all these documents to the funding authority to formally exit the trainee from the program. Okay, as I mentioned before, the monthly training allowance will cease immediately upon trainees exit from the SGUS program. Okay, the next question. Can I exit the program prematurely without securing any job? Okay, so while I mentioned, right, the program allows trainees to exit without any penalty if they are successfully placed into a job or have secured a job on their own accord while undergoing training. But take note, trainees who exit the program without a valid reason, right, may be asked to return the course fee subsidy they have received. Yeah, so I hope you remember the slide I shared, the course fee grant. So the programs are typically around $18,000 and the government is subsidizing close to $17,500. So this clause is referring to that $17,500 grant, that the government is subsidizing. So participants who are exiting the program without valid reasons, right, they may be asked to return the grant that they have received from the government. Yeah. Okay, the next question. Let's say I managed to find a job midway while undergoing training, and I decide to drop out from the program. Okay, and this has happened before. So there was a trainee who was in our program, and he found a job midway, and he dropped out from the program. And after joining the company, right, and after working there for a couple of months, the trainee had to leave the job for some reason. So, okay, so we don't know whether the trainee was asked to go or whether the trainee didn't like the job. But the trainee came back to us and asked, hey, can I rejoin the program? Okay, I was formerly part of this cohort. Can you accept me back into the same cohort? Okay, the answer is no. The current policy position is that individuals can enroll in SGUS program only once to preserve the limited seats available. Okay, so once participants leave the program, they cannot, request to rejoin the same program or the next available cohort. Okay. Will the SGUS program include job placements? Okay, so while SGUS program operates on a train and place model, right? Okay, that means we train you first, and then we will help you to find a job. And I shared before, right? We provide a lot of value-added services like the professional photo taking, helping you to rewrite, polish your CV, cover letter, LinkedIn profile. I shared about the matchmaking platform that we have built, to matchmake employees and candidates. I shared about the career fairs that we are going to organize, and I also shared about the job placement team. Yeah, so there is a dedicated team that goes to the industry, network with them, encourage the employers to come and participate in our career fairs and look for our candidates through the job matchmaking platform. So with all those value-added services, we can actually increase your chances of getting a job, but we cannot guarantee a job at the end of the program. Okay. Will SSG allow trainees who did not manage to find a job after completing a SGS program to take up another SGS program? Okay, the answer is no. Are trainees on the SGUnited skills program eligible for COVID-19 recovery grant? Okay, so the question is, okay, let's say you are accepted into this SGUnited skills program, right? The question is, can I then go and apply for COVID-19 recovery grant? Okay, the answer is no. Okay, as monthly training allowances are already provided to trainees under SGUS, individuals who have commenced their SGUS program will not be eligible for CRG. The training allowances are intended to help cover basic expenses incurred by the trainee over the duration of their training. The training allowance quantum is also higher than under CRG because the SGUnited is paying $1,200, right, compared to CRG, which is only paying $500 to $700 per month. Yeah. Okay, the last question. Will trainees on the SGUnited skills program be eligible for hourly training allowance under the NTUC SEP or the Workfare Skill Support Scheme? Okay, so many of you may be familiar. So if you attend some of the government subsidized courses, right, you may be eligible to claim additional funding, like for every hour of training that you invest. So the question here is, can I go and tap on the additional funding schemes like SCP or WSS? Okay, the answer is no. Yeah. So because the government is giving a flat training allowance of $1,200 per month, participants cannot go and apply for any additional grant under SCP scheme or WSS scheme. Okay. So these are some of the frequently asked questions by our trainees. Okay, and here is a summary of today's presentation. So today the product managers, they went through 4 programs: UI UX designer, Java programmer, cloud administrator, and associate project manager. So all the 4 programs are 6 months long, and here you can see the duration in hours and days. Yeah. So some of these programs, as you see, like UI UX, on average you will have to attend like 12 days of training per month on average. Whereas if you're looking at programs like project manager, it's like 8 days on average per month. So it depends on the program that you enroll for. And also some of these programs are 100% virtual. Take for example a Java programmer or even the project manager. okay, or even the cloud as well. So many of these programs are 100% delivered virtually through Zoom. But we do have some programs like UI UX Designer, which requires some of the hands-on modules to be delivered face-to-face in our training center in Bras-Basah. Okay, and here are our first, the schedule for our first cohort. Yeah, the dates are tentative, but here is the tentative schedule. So the applications are now open. So if you are keen to apply for this program, please visit this URL or scan this QR code, and from there you can apply for the respective programs that you're interested in. Okay, so shortlisted candidates will be notified, and they will be called for an interview as well, a virtual interview. And upon the interview, if the candidates are selected for the program, and then we will arrange for an orientation session, and then the participants will also be required to sign a letter of undertaking, which details the terms and conditions that I shared earlier. And then the programs will commence on the dates that you see here. Okay, so next we move on to the Q&A. So there's a question, how many places per program? Okay, so we only, as I shared before, right, we only have a limited number of training places. Unfortunately, I can't share the exact number. But if you ask me, like, what is the average cohort size? The average cohort size is around 25. Okay, we do have cohorts with a class size of 30, but average is 25. Okay, there is a question. In light of the COVID situation, is there consideration for UI UX course to be fully virtual? Are you able to share the curriculum and timetable? Puzi and Nicole, do you want to take that question?
Yes, thank you, Sento. With regards to the face-to-face classroom for the UI UX course, there's only 2 modules that requires a face-to-face classroom mode, which is the Adobe After Effects and Adobe Premiere Pro. So in case the COVID situation become worse, and if the government mandate that we have to convert it to a virtual live class, we will have the capacity to do that as previously, but our first preference is still a face-to-face class for these 2 modules because of the nature of the software that requires a strong, powerful computer and also a hands-on learning experience. And I think the second question, Senthil, is about whether the schedule is out, right? Okay.
Okay, the question is, are you able to share the curriculum and timetable for UI UX? Yeah, I think the schedule with the relevant modules being face-to-face.
Yeah. So for the modules, you can go to our website that Chu Chen shown the QR code just now, and the modules are all listed over there. In terms of the schedules, it's currently still being finalized, so I wouldn't be able to give you the final, the confirmed schedule at the moment. Thank you.
Okay, will we be informed if we aren't shortlisted for the course? Yeah. So once you apply for the program, right, typically within 2 to 3 weeks, you will know the outcome of the application. And if you are shortlisted for the program, then we will arrange for a virtual interview via Zoom. And after the virtual interview, if the participants are selected, then we will issue the letter of confirmation, and we will also provide a letter of undertaking. Okay, this has to be signed before the commencement of the program. So is there any deadline to apply for the UI UX program? Puzi, do you want to take that question?
Yes, thank you, Senthil. Okay, the first intake we are tentatively targeting the 10th of January. So I presume it is best that you apply it as soon as possible, because we are targeting to do our first interview next week. So if you are interested, please go to our website and fill in the application via Zopa. via the website that our colleague Chu Chen shared with you just now. Thank you.
There are questions like, if for the PM program, if we cannot make it on 10th Jan, when is the next intake? Chishan, do you want to take that question?
So we have another intake coming up in February, but as mentioned, we are limited slots. This is all on first come first served basis. So I recommend that you send your application as soon as possible.
In fact, for some of the programs, right, there is only one cohort. For example, the cloud administrator that we shared with you today, right? That one, there is only one cohort. We only have a limited number of slots available for that program. But for the other tracks, there will be a possible second cohort as well.
In the question and answer, there's another question. So for the UI UX designer or project master, Scrum master course, do I need to use laptop? How about using tablet or HP? So for all the SGUS programs, you will have to use a laptop or desktop. No tablet or handphone will be allowed.
Okay, can I check how many % do I need to pass the assessment? Okay, it's a good question. So, so this is a SSG administered program, right? So I think some of you, in fact, many of you might have taken WSQ courses before. WSQ courses are actually competency-based assessments. Yeah, so it's not like a pass-fail. Okay, in the WSQ assessment, it's called competent or not yet competent. And for you to be fully competent, right? Actually, all the question and answers all the answers must be correct. So in a way, it's like 100%. But as I mentioned before, right, do not get worried about the 100% passing requirement. So in the event participants fail, right, what we will do is we'll arrange for a makeup, another reassessment, or there'll be an oral recovery, and there is no additional cost for the reassessment or the oral recovery.
Until there's some question on the chat also. Maybe you can address those in the chat. Yeah.
Okay, can you use Mac laptop? Yeah, this is a good question. It depends. While you can use Mac for most of the modules within a program, right? There are some softwares, for example, project management side, Chuchen, there is Power BI involved.
Yes, Power BI, which is a Windows software. So for that, you will need to have a Windows desktop or laptop for that module. So currently we are unable to arrange for a laptop or desktop for the trainees. So do ensure that for the duration of those courses, you will have access to a Windows desktop or laptop.
Yeah, so in case if you do not have a Windows laptop, right? So what we are normally advise our trainees is that, okay, maybe on those specific dates, anyway, we are going to share the schedule upfront, right? So maybe you can get a loan, the device from your friends or relatives on those specific dates when your course requires you to have a Windows-based laptop. Yeah. Okay, for the UI UX course, where there is any use of many Adobe design programs, do participants require a powerful PC at home to do coursework and capstone projects? Okay, this is for Puzi.
Yep. Okay, for UI UX, I think in terms of the minimum computer spec, as long as you have Intel Core i3 or higher with a CPU of 1.8 gigahertz, I think that should be sufficient. Minimum of 8 GB RAM and 20 GB hard disk space.
Okay, there's another question. Retirees who wish to be employed again, are they eligible for SGUS, SGUP? Okay, this program, right? For this program, there is no restriction on age. Anybody can apply regardless of the age group, as long as the participant meets the program the prerequisites, and as long as they clear the interview, they will be accepted into the program. So in fact, in the previous cohorts, that we did in the past, right, we do have retirees going through our SGUS program.
So there's one question. I do not have $500 in my Skills Future credit. Do I need to pay in cash?
Okay, so so for those of you who do not have enough credits in Skills Future credits, right, you can actually pay in the form of cash, or if you are a union member, or if you wish to sign up as an NTUC union member, you can tap on $250 UTAP funding. So this is applicable for both Singaporeans and PRs.
There's a question on do we need to download or prerequisite software, right? This question, right? Most of the classes are run on virtually, and the labs, their hands-on lab will be on the virtual environment. You don't need to download much anything like actually. You can just use a virtual environment to do your hands-on practice. Yeah.
Senthil, there's a question on how the interview questions will be for Oracle Java developer course. So the answer to that is that first, we are actually looking for a few things. Number one is that we prefer candidate who has a diploma and above in any of the science or IT or mathematics or engineering discipline. And then we're also looking for those who are unemployed and with 21 years and above and minimum 2 years of experience.
Yeah, and to add on to what Puzi said, right, for some of the tech-heavy programs, we will even ask some aptitude questions, like some questions on problem solving. This will be asked during the interview. Yeah, because roles like programming or coding, it requires strong logical thinking, and it's an important prerequisite. So we do ask such questions during interview to analyze, to assess the participants' readiness for the course. Yeah, because the coding courses are quite intensive. Will we be given notes after the class? Yes, for every module, participants will be given notes. For some courses, the notes will be in the form of, in fact, for many courses, the notes are e-copies. Yeah, because we work with a number of content partners. Chu Chen was earlier sharing the content partners that we work with, right? But we work with a lot more partners for the various programs that we shared. And many of these content partners place restrictions. So there are some IP restrictions that we have to adhere to. So if those content partners are giving us an e-copy, we will have to give you the materials in e-copy. Whereas there are some content partners who only provide hard copy of the books, okay? Because they don't want to give e-copy for some reason. In those cases, we will give hard copy. Yeah, so it depends on the program that you enroll for. Okay, there's a question. If I am on a project management program whereby the classes are conducted virtually, may I be abroad for several weeks while continuing the classes fully via Zoom? Okay, this program, right, the SGUnited Skills program, is meant for candidates who are residing in Singapore. So this is something that we don't know at this moment. So we assume that you are a resident of Singapore and you intend to work in Singapore at the end of the program. If that's the case, you are eligible to participate. But in case if you're residing overseas, yeah, and if you're intending to work overseas, right, then this program is not eligible. So the program requires you to have to be physically a resident of Singapore. Okay, maybe I will ask, maybe I will request our content partners like Chandra, Mary, do you want to share a little bit about our, the previous cohorts, the kind of capstones they did, and how it increased their employability?
Okay, sure, Senthil. Thanks for that. Okay, so just wanted to give you an overview of the Java program. So let me share my screen, and we'll just do a small outline of the entire course and try to understand where we are coming to this program. So let me share my screen, please. And there we go. Okay. So this, as Mr. Puji has already mentioned, this is a 6 months Java developer program. Okay, so we'll be starting with the introduction to programming. I mean, we expect that most of the participants who join this course are new to programming or completely, switching careers in the, in search of new jobs. So basically, we're looking at introducing programming concepts to you, and then we'll be starting with web development. So in this, we'll be talking about HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And after that, we'll be doing a capstone project. So most of the times, we try to enforce the real world scenarios over here. So for example, in the last cohort that we have done 2 cohorts of this particular syllabus over here. Okay, in the last cohorts, what we have done is we have implemented a calculator, we have implemented a snake game, and also to simulate a real world situation, we have connected to Netflix, server and downloaded the movies and, kind of Netflix showtime, info website kind of thing. We have prepared that for this particular web development module. Then database fundamentals, just enough so that we can continue with the rest of the modules, because when you talk about Java programming 1, 2, or Spring Boot, we need some kind of database information. And for that, we make sure that the participants have a fair idea about how to set up the database, how to do the SQL, PLSQL, queries on the database. So this is just a theoretical concept for 5 days, and we'll be doing hands-on as a part of the lesson itself, but there's no exclusive capstone for database fundamentals. Then we start with Java SC Programming 1. This is a 5-day curriculum, completely, from scratch. We'll be starting with understanding what and where Java comes from. How do you start with Java programming? And, we'll be doing basic to intermediate skills in this particular 5-day course. And then we are exclusively giving 10 days for this particular module capstone, so that we can reinforce all the knowledge that we have done in the 5 days and implement projects. So we'll be at least doing 4 or 5 case studies during that 10-day period, understanding, each and every important aspect of Java programming, like, object-oriented programming, or we're talking about collections, we're talking about arrays, we're talking about Lambda. So we're going to reinforce all of that in this 10 days capstone. Okay. Then we start with Java SC Programming 2. In that particular lesson, we're going to, look at intermediate to advanced skills of Java programmers. Okay. So we are expecting that the participants would have got a fair idea about Java after 15 days. So we just pushing the needle and going to slightly intermediate to advanced skills. So where we'll be talking about native IO, input output, like file-based operations. We'll be talking about database operations. We'll be talking about collections in Java. So that's the advanced part, and a 5-day capstone for reinforcing that. Okay. And then Spring Boot, we are doing a completely new model where we are combining the training and the capstone together. Okay. So we will do a case study. Okay. Last time around, for the cohorts that we have done, we have built a car rental website, a completely fully functional car rental website, which is hosted on Heroku, the cloud service provider. So we implemented a full end-to-end solution, including employee management to customer management to booking the car slots, doing the schedule well ahead in time. So complete car rental portal is what we have done. Okay. So for this Spring Boot fundamentals, we will be doing the training in parallel with the case study. So instead of doing the training and then we're doing the capstone. Okay. So because we have already got an experience about how to reinforce our skills learned in the training through the capstone, for Spring Boot, we are going to try out that new technique. Okay, where we do the training along with the case study, car rental portal. And once we have done that 10-day session, we are having 10 days exclusively reserved, out of which 5 days we'll be taking in to complete the project that we started through the Spring Boot training, and another 5 days to give you knowledge and skills for preparing for the Oracle Certified Professional Java Developer certification. So that, you know, participants are well equipped by the end of this 6 months module to go for the certification. And, you know, once you get that certification, you know, even the employers will be interested in hiring people who have more certification. That's a proven fact. So that's a brief outline of the plan that we are looking at. So 4 capstones. Okay, in short, the training is for a total of 60 days. Okay, and as you can notice, the training is for 30 days and capstone and summative projects are for 30 days. So the total duration is 60 days in total. So that's the plan that we are having. Okay, so that's about the Java programming. If you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them for you. So let me stop the share. Yeah, thank you, Senthil.
Okay, I think Mary is outside, so she may not be able to speak. Okay, so I think it's already 6, right? How about the cloud program? Gary, do you want to bring up the slide that talks about the...
Sorry, talks about which one?
The modules covered in the cloud program.
Hold on.
So there's a question, right? I think it's a frequent question. Is the project done in teams or solo? Yeah, it depends on the program. And even within a program, right, there may be multiple capstones. So some capstones may be individual capstone, whereas some others can be group capstone projects.
They'll be sharing screen.
So there's a question on the days of lessons, be it virtual or face-to-face, what is the time for the class? So the classes are typically conducted between 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Okay, on weekdays. Okay, mostly weekdays, but there is still a possibility, like in case if the trainer falls sick or any unfortunate reasons, right? There is still a possibility for classes to happen over weekends. Yeah, otherwise, you know, when we plan our dates, usually we plan on weekdays, Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m.
So I'll be sharing my slides until.
Yeah, just one slide, Gary, on what is covered in the program.
Yes, we'll do that. So, hi, it's the same slide again that I shared just now. So, this program is actually quite comprehensive because if you look at the first part of the program, is actually covering the basic networking knowledge. It will teach you everything about basic computer networking. So if you have prior experience as a desktop engineer, or you have been working as a desktop support, this course will actually help you very much because it will help you to know how to manage and administer the network. So for the Windows Server courses, right, because one of the most commonly used server in the Singapore business environment is the Windows Server. So we'll be covering all the Windows Server fundamental as well as the administration technique, so that you can know how to use how to manage the Windows Server, and also how to do the administration for it, because there's a lot of rights and like Active Directory, all this you need to handle. So there's a few things that you're going to be learning here. So with the first 3 courses, right, you are already trained to be like a network administrator, okay, for a start. And if you look at the modules that you're sharing later, like for example, the AWS and the VMware, these are touching on, and also Azure, because we're also covering Microsoft Azure. Just for your information, AWS and Azure is the top 2 cloud platform that is used widely in the whole world. They are number 1 and number 2. So most of your employers are using either one. The third one is actually Google, which don't have, which the market share is still not that great yet. The AWS own about 33%, thereabout, and Microsoft will own the other 2/3. So yeah, so if you have been trained in these 2, you'll be able to do quite a few things. For the Microsoft Azure Administrator, this is also a very important course because moving forward, right, in the coming years, you will see lesser and lesser hardware in the physical company. you'll see more and more network environment, this cloud environment. So this Azure administrator will be replacing so-called all the hardware, all the hard server, all the hardware and the Windows server. So Azure administrator is a very important course for you to attend. If you just attend this Azure administrator course itself, it costs you about $3,000. Then we also touch on the 2 VMware courses to teach you more on the virtualization, because the virtualization is actually one of the most important technology that simulate the environment, so that a lot of testing and a lot of things can be done remotely without having the physical thing. You can simulate. So yes, so this is the whole program. It's a very comprehensive program. It will keep you very busy from the 7th of Feb to 13th of July. And you can see there's a lot of capstone. There's 4 capstone and 1 summative capstone. This capstone will help you to rebuild your skills, as in reinforce your learning, and into whatever you have learned, you will put into practice, so that practice will make perfect, will make perfect, right? So you will gain more knowledge in this way. Yeah. Thank you, Sandeep. I think I shared.
Yeah. Thanks, Gary.
Yeah.
So there's another question. If I'm a Singapore citizen currently in Singapore physically, but will be abroad for 1 month, if I'm on project management program whereby the classes are conducted virtually, may I be abroad for several weeks while continuing the classes virtually via Zoom? The answer is yes. So as long as you're a resident of Singapore, then you can, go through the program. So if you just mentioned that you will be away for only a month, right? So for that month, you can attend the courses virtually online while being overseas. But if the situation is like you are currently based overseas, right? You're a Singaporean, but living overseas, then you are not eligible to participate in SGUS. Okay, and with that, I think we have come to the end of the webinar. So I think it's already 6:07. We overrun a little bit. So so thanks everyone. Thanks all the presenters, and thanks everyone for attending the session. So if you have any questions, please contact us through the link that I shared earlier, the QR code. So there is a contact address given there, so you can write to us. So wish you all the very best. Thanks everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.